Hey everyone, I'm John Lynn, the founder and chief editor at Healthcare IT Today. We're excited to bring you another in our series of interviews with top leaders in health IT. And our guest today is Harini Malik. She's Global Strategic Biz Dev Head for Healthcare at AMD. And Aaron Dinwiddie, he's Global Account Executive for Epic at Dell Technologies. Welcome.
Hey, John, thanks for having us.
Well, thank you for having us as well. I mean, I'm excited about really talking about both our Dell and AMD partnership and really the future of healthcare.
Awesome. Well, we're going to dive into some really, I think, important topics around high performance computing. And as you said, the partnership between AMD and Dell. But before we go there, we'll do ladies first. Sarini, do you want to tell us about yourself and AMD?
Absolutely. I'm Harini Malik. I'm based here in Houston, Texas, and I am the strategic biz dev lead globally for healthcare alongside with other verticals. I've been with AMD about 19 years and in a variety of different roles, and really excited about really growing our vertical footprint in the data center business.
Awesome. Aaron, how about yourself and Dell Technologies?
Yeah, so Aaron Dinwiddie, I've been at Dell for a little bit over 17 years. I'm currently our global account manager supporting our Epic practice. So I get to help all of our hospitals, healthcare providers, payer and providers, help them be successful on their EMR platform. So I'm very excited to be here and leverage the great technologies that Dell and AMD have put together. And that way we can accelerate some of the great things we're doing in IT today.
Awesome. Rini, maybe you could start us off. Talk to us about how high performance computing is driving innovation in patient care today. What are some things you're seeing with high performance computing?
Healthcare organizations are really increasingly leveraging technologies to really improve patient outcomes. And the ability of high performance computing to take this massive data set is just becoming indispensable in the healthcare space, both for accelerating the time to solution. And then when you look at the pharmaceutical industries, the time to market, for drugs, for new drugs coming into the market. When I think about HPC in the healthcare space, it's genomics and drug discovery that come to mind. But let's take the case of genomics. The first human genome was processed or sequenced in 2003, and it took over 13 years, cost $3 billion, and had worked across 20 institutions. By 2008, the cost of that human genome to sequence was about $2 million. By 2014, about $1,000. And today, it's in tens of dollars. And all of this is only possible because of the processing power that our servers bring. And this dramatic exponential rise in terms of the number of genomes that can be sequenced really helps in terms of the potential to go drive some of the patient outcomes, around disease diagnosis, personalized medicine, screening, prevention, cancer treatment, and many others. I mean, this is one use case, right, for HPC. When you start looking at AI can process vast amounts of data, of medical data, again, that can really help with diagnosis and treatment and planning. So the amount of innovation that is happening today, especially in terms of high performance computing, is just tremendous. And it's exciting, for us both as Dell and AMD to be part of that innovation.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron, what would you add as far as where you're seeing this innovation happen in patient care?
Yeah, I think Harini's spot on. I mean, it's all about accelerating patient care to find those solutions and find outcomes that work for these patients, right? We spend a lot of time going through tests and labs and different things. But if we can speed up the recommendations on what a good outcome could be, whether that's a therapeutic outcome or a drug outcome, that helps our patients feel better faster. It helps get new patients in and helps our clinicians be more productive in their workplace, which prevents the burnout that we've kind of seen out in the healthcare industry today. So all these different mechanisms just accelerate patient outcome, accelerate productivity, and just allows us to just take a step further. And I think Today customers, not customers, but patients rather, they're spending a lot of time, in the hospitals and clinics and things like that. And so if we can help our doctors and clinicians get a little bit faster at what they do, I think that makes the world a better place.
Yeah. I mean, as I look at it, I kind of see two things driving this big demand, which is AI, of course, which Harini kind of mentioned before, and the other is real-time solutions. Like it's not okay to batch process it a month later, right? We need the data in real time, and we need to process not just the data, but the insights from that data in real time. Aaron, maybe you could start. Like, how are you seeing kind of these two things and maybe other things drive this demand for high performance computing, and what can be done to address this demand?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. We're all about the speed of now, and I think our IT solutions have to back that up. And I think what we've seen kind of working with AMD is that their performance that they're putting out to the world is just second to none. And so when you start to think about IT organizations within healthcare trying to put together solutions that allow real-time information to be processed, they don't have the time or the resources to waste. They got to make the right decisions today. And so when Dell and AMD have partnered together to put the best processors on the best hardware platforms, be able to secure that in a way that delivers most optimized performance, that's where our healthcare teams out there in the industry are able to benefit from that. And so it starts by having a plan, right? Having a use case, and then bringing that plan to people like Dell and AMD to say, hey, how do I make this art of the possible come true? And then our teams kind of collectively come together from our services organization all the way through high technical expertise to say, here's how we can make this a reality for you. And some of our customers, they just don't know where to start, and it needs to start. Just raise your hand and say, look, we have this problem we're trying to solve, whether it's genomics, whether it's research, whether it's drug discovery, or maybe it's an AI that allows our clinicians to be more productive. They just got to get started, right? It's all about just getting started and getting with these teams so that we can make these things happen.
What would you add, Harini?
Aaron's absolutely right? It's just AI is just booming. And when I look at AI and advanced analytics today, right, when you start looking at the amount of data that's prevalent and that can be used to go drive those patient outcomes is just tremendous. Like, let's just take the example of electronic health records. Integrating AI into electronic health records can really provide those real-time decision support. It can improve some of the clinical workflows and patient care. When you look at telehealth, you can implement AI to enhance some of the remote patient monitoring, it can diagnostics, as well as personalized medicine. When you look at clinical imaging, you can have a quick analysis of some of the radiology and pathology reports and accelerate some of the diagnosis, as well as improve accuracy, which is becoming a larger problem with a lot of the burnout that, healthcare providers are starting to have. And then being able to actually predict, right, especially high-risk patient populations, predict, some of these disease outbreaks, implementing some of these targeted intervention techniques, in the healthcare space can really help us in terms of preventing a lot of the larger mass scale issues that we could potentially have, or even really trying to, diagnose for a patient a lot sooner than when a real problem occurs. But when I look at this, I just feel that the demand for all of this is humongous. There is so much data that is available. So being able to go process that data becomes very important. And I think the way we address this data is really building the right solutions, right? And today we have some really great portfolio of products between AMD and Dell that can address the needs of this AI analytics, as well as high performance computing needs that the healthcare industry has. And we can tailor the solutions to what each of these hospital systems or the healthcare providers are starting to solve for.
Interesting. I mean, Harini, when you made that list of kind of popular use cases, it's a little overwhelming, right? To think that like how many things have a need for this processing power and this infrastructure. As you look at it, how does that vary by organization though, right? If you're a small health system versus, the big Mayo Clinics, Cleveland Clinics of the world, like where do you see that variation? How do you see them approaching it a little bit different?
And the needs for each of these healthcare systems are going to be so different. If you go look at the hospital systems, the demand for, the use of electronic health records or medical records is a lot more prevalent. Over there, you would want to use a lot of that data that you're collecting to help those clinical workflows. In terms of, potentially providers, they are looking at a lot of the claims data, and they are trying to ensure that the efficiencies of operational processes need to get better so that these claims can be processed in time. They are able to not have some of the administrative inefficiencies that sometimes humans can add, that we all get tired. And so when you really look at this, it's going to really vary by industry and what the needs are. But at the same time, a lot of these healthcare leaders are facing a lot of issues, right, that challenge their technological, financial, as well as administrative expertise. And no matter what, the IT budgets are always going to be tight. But you always need to make room for more data, because storage is always the storage requirements are going to keep going up, and you're always going to have to bring some of these new technologies into your data center. So you're really trying to juggle the needs of what innovation you need to bring in with some of these new technologies coming in. They cost a lot, but you have to stay within some of the budgetary constraints. And I do see that, with some of the institutions, you're going to need to have more of that training data, whereas in some others, it's going to be more around inferencing. So you really understanding the workloads and the use cases become very key. And then, having, suggesting and recommending platforms that will address those workloads in the most efficient fashion will be that next step.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a really interesting point. I don't know any organization that has unlimited budget. Everyone has constrained resources. And also, to be fair, the demand for more data, everyone's data is growing, and the demand for that, right? I don't know any organization that's like, we're going to have less data.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's more data. So Aaron, what else would you add to this as far as what you see variation by size, and also, how you see people addressing this challenge?
Yeah, no, I think Harini kind of spelled it out pretty well. I mean, I think every healthcare organization, big or small, are looking for advantages for the patient care, and sort of a competitive advantage against the next hospital down the road is, how do we accelerate someone into our or into our facility, help them get the best possible care, get them the best possible solution, so they can go live their life. And I think whether you're small or big, whether you have a little bit of data or a lot of data, everybody's looking for ways to optimize and automate some of those IT processing of the data. And so if I can automate these things by using things like AI or HPC, that allows me to, again, to see more patients, get further outcomes. The larger organizations, they might have more strategic projects, like how do we bring AI into our workflows? How do we use AI to come up with better decision making and these kind of things? And so whether you're small or large, I think everybody has an opportunity to take advantage of great performance that you get from Dell and AMD. It's just, at what scale is that going to be? We carry around our phones in our pocket, and it's crazy to think that they were exponentially better and faster than what NASA used, to get to the moon the first time. And, we have all this computing resources. And really, if we think about the data center too, footprint matters. We talked about not having, endless pocketbooks where we can just write checks all day long. Same thing with our footprints in our data centers, right? So if we think about all these new use cases coming in, I don't always have a room to extend my data center to make it bigger and add more gear. So now I have to do a lot more with less. And so making the right decision on the technology purchases of today allow me to put a more powerful system in a smaller footprint and consolidate in some cases so that I do have room to expand on some of those future projects. And so, customers are in a unique place where there's all these endless ways and things we can do to improve patient care, improve the way we do things and automate things. But at the same time, they're also challenged with making the right IT decisions so that it helps future-proof them for tomorrow. And so, I think that's where our team's going to come in and really help consult with them, meet them where they are today, but also kind of build them a roadmap of where they can be tomorrow with the right decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to shift gears a little to a topic that I think keeps every CIO up, now, which is security. With everything that's happened with Change Healthcare, with even the CrowdStrike incident, right? Security, business continuity are such important topics these days. Harini, maybe you could start, and then Aaron, you could chime in. Are there some examples of security features that are baked into the high performance computing design process that are helping to make sure that those incidents don't happen?
Absolutely. At AMD, we really believe that security needs to be built in and not bolted on, because and especially as you indicated, I mean, we live in an era where security hacks are going to happen. We need to be able to contain those, quickly, identify them before they happen, and then if they do, contain them as quickly as possible to reduce impact. So from an AMD standpoint, we have an AMD security processor that is embedded as part of every silicon, whether it's a notebook processor, a desktop processor, or a data center processor. And so this security processor has got several different functions. The first one, of course, is making sure we have a secure root of trust so that you can actually ensure that you can trust the hardware you have. So when you're booting your hardware, it checks for the authentication of your firmware at boot time as well as after boot time during runtime as well. So this ensures that the basic, the firmware is not hacked and somebody is not able to attack your system, at that hardware level, which becomes very important. But in addition to that, we have some very unique features at AMD that the Dell platforms also have provided that functionality out into the customer set, is secure memory encryption. And what that does is ensure that you can encrypt portions of the memory or all of the memory. So if somebody does get access to your physical hardware, that the data in the memory can be protected. Because a lot of times you have data in the network that's encrypted, the data going to the storage device that's encrypted. You forget that, whether you want to encrypt that data in the memory. So that level of protection is available as well. And we have another feature called secure encrypted virtualization, especially in today's day and age, where we're also used to using virtual machines, to do a lot of that work. We encrypt the data between the VMs as well as with the hypervisor. So, you don't have any backdoor mechanisms, to be able to go attack the data in a virtualized environment. And the best of all is that you do not have to go rewrite your code. Like our competitors, have some security features that you have to go back and rewrite code. Here, it's completely seamless, and you can protect the data in the virtualized environment. So all of these features, and we continue to build on the security features. We have more coming, we really believe that security needs to be at that foundation of our silicon design.
Impressive. I mean, it kind of points out why hackers go other ways rather than to the hardware to me. That's why they're often hacking using phishing and other things. But Aaron, what would you add? Any other security things that you've seen and, talking with your customers?
Yeah, I think Harini hit some really good points of some of the great technologies that AMD provides for us. And I think how we take it a step further, I mean, every server that we sell today has an integrated remote access card, which allows, IT admins out there to have full control of their system, also allows them to do security features across software patches, those kind of things. But we've actually recently introduced that really takes it a step further is our Apex AI Ops platform, which is a platform that you can just install an agent out on your server. And what this does is it's constantly going out to the infrastructure stack and it's just searching for vulnerabilities. So is there a firmware that's outdated? Is there a BIOS that's outdated? Looking to make sure the infrastructure integrity is in place. And so this is a fully automated process. So it really kind of takes the security patching and all these things off the admin's plate and then provides them alerts and says, hey, look, we're seeing vulnerabilities here, here, and here. How would you like to take action on these things? I think a lot of IT organizations sort of get overwhelmed with projects. And so sometimes it's the most basic things like patching their environment that keeps a door open for a cyber criminal to come in. And so if we can put some of these great tools in place, like Irini mentioned, that are built into the systems, give more access to our admins to do the work they need, but also automate it with things like the Apex AI Ops. That will allow us to make sure that our customers stay safe and secure, and John, allow them to sleep good at night.
Yeah, they all want that. I mean, I remember many times remote accessing through the direct card. Taking me way back. I'm an old tech guy, before I became a podcaster and journalist. But let's wrap up and talk about kind of forward looking. And Harini, maybe you could start over the next, say, 3 to 5 years. How much do you see demand for HPC growing, and what should health IT leaders be doing to prepare for that growth?
We are just in the beginning phases of AI. I expect this demand to just, grow exponentially in the next few years. And hence, I think, the healthcare IT leaders really need to take a hard look on how are they going to go drive these innovations and add these new technologies to their data center. And the first place to start is to look at how do you modernize your current infrastructure, because a lot of the current infrastructure in the data centers today are several years old. And so they have less performance. They're not very energy efficient and so consume a lot more power, and you need to have a lot more cooling costs, in your data center. So if you look at the overall OpEx spend, and the performance that this old equipment provides, it's not very beneficial. So modernizing your infrastructure with the right combination of performance, energy efficient systems, and making sure that you can actually reduce the space that you currently have in your data center with these modern systems becomes key to really bring some of these new innovative platforms into the data center. And we can do that, right, with the Dell and the AMD products, because, we do provide that leadership performance, power efficiency, and TCO, that where you can actually reduce the number of servers in your data center by almost 50%, compared to some of that old equipment that's out there. So, and this is really important because in some ways, like bringing some of these newer technologies with more core counts, with memory, better memory, more IO, all of this, drives that acceleration that is needed, right, to go look at some of the complex medical data, deliver, some of the disease diagnosis that, we were talking about, being able to increase the operational efficiencies in your data center and be able to go support the growth that they really need, from a healthcare point of view. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. I think, the decisions we make today absolutely unlock those abilities of tomorrow. And I think what I've also seen is, I urge IT organizations to bring all the stakeholders to the table, right? Because we don't want to operate in silos. And what a informatics officer may be thinking about, what a CTO may be thinking about, what your CFO may be thinking about, all these things play a part on how we architect a solution that is helping you today, but also a building block of all these new things that are coming tomorrow. And I think what we can all agree on is that data is exploding. The data you have today is going to be exponential every year. Every time we go have this conversation, the data is going to be doubling, tripling. The other thing is applications are so demanding, and they're only going to get more demanding. And so when you look across the market and you go, who do I want to partner with to make sure that I put the right building blocks in place so that I can be successful today, but also have those building blocks to help me for tomorrow's demands and the things that are going to come down the pike. Dell and AMD, I think, just absolutely delivers. And I think the art of the possible, you got to be creative. We live in this world today where we can do just about anything. So I also urge organizations to bring those ideas forward. There are things that are probably happening right now that you're not sure of or you've not heard of, but it's happening. I think we went to HIMSS not terribly long ago, and I was watching some drawings of a heart and watching blood flow through it and being able to go a layer at a time, something I've never seen before. So the acceleration of healthcare and patient care is exponential compared to what it was 5 years ago. And I think we're going to see that another jump in the next 5 years. And so making smart decisions today will absolutely help our IT organizations tomorrow for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I just look at one simple technology, or I guess not that simple, although when you use it, it feels simple. Ambient clinical voice, the AI medical scribe.
Yes.
It's now going to document not just what you need for billing or what you need for patient care, it's going to document everything. So it's like, think about the explosion of data now that everything that's ever said in the exam room is now going to be documented in Epic or in your EHR,
Right.
whatever you use. It's like, that's just one example, let alone health sensors and other things that are happening. So you're right, Aaron. The data is exploding, and the need to store that data and then process it into actual useful information is never going to be greater. Aaron, Harini, I really appreciate you taking time to sit down with us to talk about this important topic and how healthcare organizations can prepare for everything, all these changes that are coming. So thanks so much. And thanks everyone for watching and listening. If you want to find more great healthcare IT content like this, be sure to check it out at healthcareittoday.com or search for Healthcare IT Today on your favorite podcast applications. Thanks a lot.